2x4s under there, so they needed a fellow to herd them out, keep them out. So that was my first job with Mr. Ford. Well, Mr. Ford says, so you're a football player, nice.
Did you know that Hollywood legend John Wayne faced such financial hardship that he had to file for bankruptcy? His life was full of stories of glory and surprise, from struggling to pay his bills to shocking revelations about his estate after his death. Discover the little-known secrets of the actor's life and what his family discovered after his death. Don't miss this fascinating story. But how did John Wayne's early life begin? Let's find out. Marion Robert Morrison, who would become the film legend John Wayne, was born on May 26, 1907, in Winterset, Iowa, the eldest son of Clyde Leonard Morrison, a pharmacist, and Mary Molly Alberta Brown. His early life was shaped by the values of hard work and resilience, which were important in his humble Midwestern upbringing. Soon after Marion was born, his family moved to Southern California in search of better economic opportunities, a decision that inadvertently paved the way for his celebrated career. Although the family moved frequently due to changes in his father's career, Marion adapted well and developed strong character traits during this time. Growing up in California, Marion was an active boy, working odd jobs to help his family, such as delivering groceries and mixing sodas at pharmacy. These experiences instilled in him a sense of responsibility and work ethic that would continue throughout his career and life. Athletics played a major role in Marion Robert Morrison's early years. He attended Glendale Union High School, where he excelled in a variety of sports, especially football. Marion's athleticism earned him a scholarship to the University of Southern California, USC, where he continued to impress on the football field. During his time at UC, Marion developed a powerful physique and confident demeanor, traits that would later become characteristic of his roles. Marion's passions were not limited to sports. However, in addition to football, he was active in activities such as debate and student government, which helped him develop public speaking skills and confidence in communication. From an early age, Marion had a deep love of literature, especially stories about the American West. He spent his free time reading books about frontier and cowboy life, which inadvertently prepared him for future acting roles. However, his time at UC came to an abrupt end when an injury prevented him from continuing his football career and losing his scholarship. Although this setback seemed like a setback, it turned out to be a pivotal moment that opened a new path for Marion's career. Feeling the need for steady work, Marion began working for the Fox Film Corporation as a laborer and props attendant. Thanks to his relationship with football coach Howard Jones, during his time at Fox, he adopted the stage name John Wayne, who would later become an icon of American Western cinema. At Fox, Marion had the opportunity to meet and work with influential people in the film industry, especially the famous director John Ford. This relationship played a key role in Marion's career, providing him with valuable advice and insight into the film industry before he officially stepped in front of the camera. Marion's time on set not only helped him gain experience in film production, but also gave him a better understanding of the processes and work in the industry. These early jobs, from moving props to assisting in the construction of sets, laid a solid foundation for his later acting career. In particular, in the period after World War I, Marion witnessed the social changes and economic impacts of war, helping him develop resilience and a realistic outlook that would last throughout his life and career. John Wayne entered the film industry casually and humbly, starting from his years at the University of Southern California, USC, where he was a promising football player. However, fate changed everything when an unexpected encounter opened the door for him to Hollywood. Thanks to his football coach, Howard Jones, Wayne had the opportunity to meet Tom Mix, a famous silent film actor and friend of Jones. Mix invited Wayne to a USC game, and from there, a relationship was formed. This led to an important meeting with legendary director John Ford, who would later become Wayne's mentor. Ford, along with Mix, saw great potential in Wayne and encouraged him to work in the film industry, starting with roles as a prop assistant and extra. Wayne always attributed his rough, unique speaking style and his exceptional self-confidence largely to his interactions with Wyatt Earp, a close friend of Tom Mix's who was a regular on Ford's set. Early in his career, Wayne took on minor roles, such as an uncredited guard in the silent film The Magnificent 1926. These roles were not insignificant, however, but were important stepping stones in building relationships and gaining experience. Later, Wayne began appearing in films with football scenes, where he was able to use his USC athletic experience. Films such as Brown of Harvard, The Dropkick, and Salute gave him some additional experience in front of the camera. Although he was still a supporting actor, rather than rushing into stardom, Wayne took his time learning and building important relationships in the film industry, which would later prove to be key to his career. While working at Fox Film Corporation, Wayne mostly took on supporting roles under the stage name Duke Morrison. However, things changed when director Raoul Walsh noticed something special in him. One day, while Wayne was moving props on the set, Walsh recognized the young man's potential and decided to give him his first leading role in The Big Trail 1903. The film was considered a technical marvel of its time, shot in spectacular locations, and required a lead actor with outstanding physical abilities, which Wayne did very well. It was Walsh who suggested the name John Wayne to him because he felt it had a rough and rugged style that suited the image of a Western star. However, Wayne had no involvement in choosing the name. From then on, the name John Wayne officially became an icon of the big screen, starting a brilliant career later in the Western film genre, and he would stick with for the rest of his life. Studio executives, especially Fox Studios executive Winfield Sheehan, had the final say in choosing John Wayne. However, after the failure of The Big Trail, Wayne returned to smaller roles, mostly in low-budget westerns for a working-class audience. He took any job he could get, even playing a corpse in The Deceiver. These years helped him hone his craft, landing roles in television series such as The Three Musketeers and in modestly budgeted westerns. Wayne's big break came when director John Ford cast him as the Ringo Kid in Stagecoach 1909. This was a revolutionary film, combining the western genre with deep character studies and complex stories. This role completely changed Wayne's career, catapulting him to Hollywood stardom and cementing his place in the film industry. After years of struggle and hard work, Wayne finally proved many of his doubters wrong and opened a new chapter in his career. In 1952, Wayne decided to take more control of his career by forming Batjack Productions, a film production company named after the company in the film Wake of the Red Witch in which he appeared. Batjack not only served as a platform for Wayne to produce his films, but also helped him produce films for other stars and directors, such as 7 Men from Now and Gun the Man Down. This decision allowed Wayne to maintain creative control while expanding his influence in the film industry. In addition to producing films, Wayne also tried his hand at acting in a variety of roles, especially those related to aviation. He starred in films such as The High and the Mighty 1954 and Flying Leathernecks 1951, which demonstrated his wide acting range and highlighted the depth of his characters. Wayne's ongoing collaboration with director John Ford also produced some of the most iconic westerns in cinema history, such as The Searchers 1956 and She Wore a Yellow Ribbon 1909. These films not only demonstrated Wayne's exceptional ability to portray complex characters, but also proved that he was more than just an action star. Wayne's career continued to flourish in the 1960s as he took on increasingly diverse roles, from war films to works that dealt with social issues. John Wayne was not only a movie star, but also a talented director. He directed and starred in The Alamo 1960, a film that was not only a box office success, but also demonstrated Wayne's ambition behind the camera. This success cemented his status as a versatile star, while also affirming his ability to captivate audiences. Subsequent films, such as The Comancheros 1901, The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance 1902, and The Longest Day 1902, continue to demonstrate Wayne's talent and charisma, establishing him as one of the most formidable names in the film industry. However, Wayne's career was not always smooth sailing. His role as Genghis Khan in The Conqueror 1956 was a huge failure, criticized by critics and considered one of the low points of his career. Nevertheless, Wayne remained a box office draw and always recovered from setbacks. The late 1980s marked a pivotal period in Wayne's career. In 1988, he co-directed The Green Berets, a controversial film about the Vietnam War. It was one of the few pro-war films released during a time when anti-war sentiment was running high. That same year, he also starred in Hellfighters, further demonstrating his versatility in acting. Wayne's next big break came in 1969 when he played Rooster Cogburn in True Grit. The role of a gruff, one-eyed sheriff earned him an Academy Award for Best Actor. This was not only a milestone in Wayne's career, but also a testament to his enduring appeal to audiences. Even in his later years, Wayne continued to appear in important films. In 1970, he starred in Chisel, playing a rancher fighting corporate greed, which received critical acclaim. Subsequent films such as Rio Lobo 1970, Big Jake 1971, and The Cowboys Winterset 2 continue to demonstrate his ability to appeal to audiences, even as the Western genre was losing popularity. Wayne's dedication to his craft remained unwavering, even in his later years. His performance in The Shootist 96, his final film, was a moving portrayal of his own life. In the film, Wayne plays an aging gunslinger facing death, mirroring his own life and career. The film was critically acclaimed and was considered a fitting swan song for a legend like Wayne. Despite his great success on screen, Wayne struggled financially off-screen. His lavish lifestyle and risky investments often left him in financial limbo. However, his tenacious work ethic never wavered. Wayne continued to act, direct, and produce until his health failed, demonstrating a deep passion for the film industry he helped shape. Ultimately, John Wayne became a symbol of strength and resilience, not only on screen but also in real life. His journey from college football player to one of Hollywood's greatest stars is a testament to his enduring appeal and unwavering dedication to the cause he loved. The string of poor choices and betrayals started John Wayne's financial problems during WWI. Bo Roos, a business manager who appeared to personify the glitz and glamour of Hollywood, was entrusted with the actor's financial destiny by the legendary actor. Roos effortlessly maneuvered among the exclusive circles of Hollywood, thanks to his tanned skin, sparkling grin, and well-coiffed hair. He flashed his wealth and style by driving a vehicle with an early mobile phone. Stars like Marlene Dietrich, Joan Crawford, and the Andrews sisters were among his famous clientele who trusted his financial advice. Wayne hired Roos as his financial manager, putting his faith in him to preserve and increase his fortune, drawn in by his seeming success and intelligence. In the wake of failed checks and impending foreclosures, Wayne's faith in one of Roos's strongly suggested investments quickly waned. More investments went bad, making an already bad situation worse. Worried about his worsening financial situation, Wayne asked Roos for answers, but all he got were platitudes. The financial crisis, however, intensified. Roos expected enormous profits on the stunning $700,000 he had spent in a company in Panama. Unfortunately, Wayne was left with almost $1 million in debt and no predicted earnings when the venture bombed. Wayne was one of Hollywood's biggest performers in the 40s and 50s, but he was destitute by that point. While on a shopping excursion with his wife at New York's Saks Fifth Avenue, the magnitude of his financial downfall became evident. Wayne casually told the cashier to charge $30, $500 to Roos when the total accumulated, but the check bounced. Wayne, taken aback and bewildered, dispatched his secretary, Mary, to seek clarification from Roos. In her dogged quest for answers, Mary would not leave Roos's office until she had seen Wayne's bank records. Roos suggested that Mary come back later to delay her, but Mary was unbowed. Upon obtaining access to the records, she discovered a sobering truth. All of Wayne's assets had been depleted. The ugly reality came to light. It was Roos's bad management and careless investments that caused him to lose the money, not theft. Just like that, the riches that Wayne had given him was disappeared. Wayne, seeing his bank account in tatters, knew he needed a fresh strategy and a trustworthy manager. Because of this, he appointed Don LaCava, his son-in-law, to manage his money. When it came to investment, LaCava was supposed to be more reserved than the showy ruse, with an emphasis on preserving the family's fortune and warding off future financial catastrophes. Regrettably, Wayne's financial problems persisted even after the change of management. While visiting Dallas in 1965, Wayne's penchant for frivolous spending returned. Seemingly oblivious to the limits on his bank account, he spent roughly $30.00 on shopping. Wayne was notified by LaCava, who was now in charge of his accounts, that there wasn't enough cash to meet the bill when it arrived. It was unbelievable to Wayne. The fact that he had put millions of dollars in his son-in-law's hands was something he brought up. Unexpectedly, it became clear that LaCava had failed to be the cautious and competent manager that Wayne had hoped for, regardless of his good intentions. Dangerous real estate deals and fruitless oil wells were the main reasons why most of his investments had lost money. Once again, Wayne's pursuit of financial security was in jeopardy. Wayne chose to cut relations with LaCava, his financial manager, due to his disappointment and frustration. Putting everything back together again, John Wayne was unfazed by the catastrophic losses and misguided financial choices made by those he trusted. Having fired LaCava, he decided to handle things alone. Wayne was hell-bent on starting again with his wealth. Instead of putting his faith in management, he decided to keep a closer eye on his investments and money matters. Directly managing his resources was an area in which Wayne surprised everyone with his skill over time. Over time, his financial situation improved thanks to the lucrative jobs he landed, thanks to his celebrity status and influence in Hollywood, as well as his wiser economic judgments. To get his career and money back under his control, Wayne used his production firm, Bat Jack Productions. He became very wealthy as a result of his roles as both producer and performer in a string of box office hits. He negotiated profit-sharing terms for his films and was smart about selecting parts that would appeal to his existing fan base to diversify his income. He was under a lot of stress and strain to keep up his extravagant lifestyle, since he had to pay for his family. Wayne persisted in working far into his twilight years, despite repeated warnings from doctors, all to reclaim what he had lost. Conflicts and distrust ensued in his relationships as a result of his financial instability, especially with people he had trusted to safeguard his fortune. Many Hollywood celebrities, like Wayne, suffer from a lack of financial understanding and the risks of mistaken trust, which Wayne's problems highlighted. His life lessons taught him the need to be careful and well-informed while handling money, particularly in a field where fortunes may change hands in the blink of an eye. Wayne's ordeal with money shows how important it is to be careful with one's finances and how unpredictable Hollywood's financial climate can be. He was nevertheless vulnerable to the dangers of putting his faith in the wrong people or taking unnecessary risks with his money, even if he was a highly acclaimed and adored performer of his time. His experience should serve as a warning to anyone working in show business that fame and fortune do not necessarily go hand in hand. The fact that Wayne had financial difficulties in his final years did not characterize him, but it did influence his attitude to his work. His dedication to safeguarding his hard-earned fortune intensified, and he grew increasingly wary of those he trusted in business. He truly embodied the tough characters he played on screen, resilient, determined, and relentless in his ability to bounce back from not one, but two devastating financial losses. A patriot's view of Wayne amid EYY John Wayne encountered a difficult predicament in his quest to serve his nation during WW. Wayne was initially spared from military duty because of his age and his obligations as a parent, which led to his classification as 3I. Regardless, he had a strong sense of patriotism and was intent on finding a way to help the war effort. Republic Studios, anxious to keep its greatest star from departing Hollywood, vetoed his enlistment attempts on many occasions. Wayne, who was never one to give up, looked into other possibilities, including applying to the OSS, which was the intelligence agency's forerunner. Unfortunately, he was unable to join the OSS despite his best efforts. Wayne's dedication to the military never wavered. He went another way to show his support because he couldn't enlist as a soldier. To raise morale among American service members, he joined USO tours and went to various hospitals and military installations in the South Pacific. The chief of the Office of Strategic Services, William J. Donovan commended him for his genuine devotion to the cause. Despite everything he did, reports persisted that Wayne felt guilty or regretful about not serving in active battle. This, some said, was what gave Wayne his extremely patriotic public image. Even nevertheless, Wayne's career flourished both during and after the war, with roles in noteworthy films like Shepherd of the Hills and Reap the Wild Wind. In addition to his work in movies, he was a well-known radio presenter for the adventure series 3 Sheets to the Wind, where his powerful voice helped solidify his status as a national hero. Private life, like his professional life, Wayne's personal life was full of color. His 3 spouses were all of Latino heritage, and he divorced twice. Although his marriages were noteworthy, they were not trouble-free. His first marriage, to Josephine Alicia Sands, which lasted 12 years and ended in divorce, produced 4 children. His contentious second marriage to Esperanza Bauer came to an extreme public split. Pilar Palay was a Peruvian actress, and he had 3 additional children from his marriage, which lasted till his death despite his many divorces. Just as exciting was Wayne's life apart from his marriages. His romance with actress Merle Oberon was one of his high-profile relationships. Another was with Pat Stacey, his former assistant, who remained by his side until his last days. With his third marriage, Wayne added 3 more children to his brood of 7. His first marriage yielded 4. Though they never became as famous as their famous father, several of his offspring continued his profession in cinema and television. Wayne remained an important influence in his children's lives. Despite his hectic work schedule and personal difficulties, he was a devoted father who balanced his job with his duties at home. Distress in health and dying days in his latter years, John Wayne had some serious health issues. It all started in 1964 when he received the news that he had lung cancer, a disease that had been plaguing him for decades due to his habit of smoking. He returned to acting after a potentially successful but dangerous operation that removed his whole left lung and 4 ribs. Despite the health crisis, Wayne did not change his lifestyle and kept smoking extensively for years, which worsened his health even more. His participation in the disastrous 1956 picture, The Conqueror, which was shot close to St. George, Utah, a location polluted by radioactive fallout from previous nuclear tests, exacerbated these problems. The actors and crew were unwittingly exposed to significant quantities of radiation. Despite assurances that the site was safe, the results were disastrous. Several members of the film's staff and actors, including Susan Hayward and director Dick Powell, went on to suffer cancer in subsequent years. There was a disturbing number from an article published in 1980 that showed that out of 220 individuals who were engaged in making the picture, 91 had cancer and 46 had passed away as a result of the sickness. Among those impacted was Wayne, whose exposure may have made his health issues worse. It was in the late 1970s that Wayne's health started to deteriorate severely. His physicians found that his stomach cancer had spread shortly after he had surgery in January 1979 to remove an obstruction in his digestive tract. Wayne maintained an air of bravery and stoicism, even though his health was deteriorating. At the 1979 Academy Awards, he presented the Best Picture Oscar while seeming weak yet exuding the same irreplaceable aura of the Hollywood giant he had always been. This was his last public appearance. An era comes to a close. John Wayne died at the age of 72 from complications related to stomach cancer on June 11, 1979. With his passing, a golden age in Hollywood came to a close, and with him, millions of followers had grown to revere him as a representation of unbridled American pride and masculinity. His loved ones and admirers felt a tremendous void in their lives when he passed away. A flood of tributes honoring his life as a film star and an advocate for principles that many Americans could relate to followed his death in the days that followed. In his last moments, Wayne asked that his name be remembered for the battle against cancer. John Wayne's wish was granted when his family established the John Wayne Cancer Foundation to support cancer research, education, and awareness programs. This group is an important component of Wayne's legacy, carrying on the battle against the cancer that took his life and the lives of many of his colleagues. After passing away, Wayne bequeathed a sizable wealth to his heirs, He had amassed a considerable fortune despite his reputation for being generous and his periodic financial woes. To make sure that his 7 children would carry on his legacy, he left them a large portion of his inheritance. Even though he has passed away, Wayne's legacy as a rock of American film and a symbol of a certain brand of rough patriotism lives on, in large part because his loved ones worked hard to honor his memory and promote the things he believed in. John Wayne fought physical and mental struggles in his latter years with the same grit that defined him on film. Despite his imperfections and failures, this guy remained a colossal presence in American society right up to the end. His complicated family relationships, his devotion to his nation, and his battles with disease all contributed to this picture. Income and assets of John Wayne as a result of his long and fruitful career in Hollywood. John Wayne had amassed a considerable fortune by the time he passed away in 1979. Wayne, who had financial troubles in his younger years, became a very wealthy man by his decades-long career in acting, producing, and directing. The pay he received as a leading actor during his time, as well as production deals through his firm, Bat Jack Productions, and other astute business endeavors, were among the many sources of his wealth. Like the tough characters he played on television, Wayne showed resiliency by repairing his financial portfolio after suffering episodes of mismanagement and loss. Wayne meticulously oversaw the management of his estate in his latter years to guarantee stability. It was valued at around $6.85 million when he passed away, which would be much more in today's terms. After learning from his mistakes, he approached investments with more caution and meticulous preparation, which led to his financial turnaround. What will last thoughts for Wayne's loved ones after passing away on June 11, 1979? John Wayne's well-thought-out will demonstrated his devotion to his loved ones, his 7 children, his ex-wives, and even a few close acquaintances were all named in his will. Wayne made sure that his children would get the most out of his inheritance, since he knew how important it was to provide for his big family. The sums distributed to his children from his marriages to Pyra Pallet and Josephine, Alicia Sands, varied according to his evaluation of their needs and situations when he passed away. In the will, John Wayne left precise sums of money and assets to his 7 children, Michael, Patrick, Melinda, Tony, Lisa, Ethan, and Marissa. Michael and Patrick, being the eldest children, were probably granted larger shares since they were more involved in their father's lives and company. Because of his substantial participation in running Bat Jack Productions and his father's faith in his financial expertise, Michael earned a greater share than his siblings. A large bequest of money and possessions was left to Lisa and Marissa, Wayne's children. To respect Wayne's intentions and avoid any potential disagreements, the division of his estate was carefully laid out for each of his children. His meticulous preparations demonstrated his wish to keep the peace in his family and prevent strife among his successors. Not only did Wayne leave everything to his kids, but he also left something to his ex-wives and a handful of important friends. Wayne bequeathed a substantial chunk of his assets to Pyra Pallet, his 3rd wife, with whom he stayed married until his death despite a lengthy time of separation. Though their marriage had been troubled in its last years, their choice highlighted the everlasting connection they had. The tangled web of his connections with his other ex-wives, Esperanza Bauer and Josephine Alicia Sands, was mirrored in the modest bequests that were left to them. Wayne also provided for his secretary and partner in his latter years, Pat Stacy. Wayne wanted to make sure she was okay after he died, since they had formed a strong relationship. He gave careful consideration to his last wishes, since he included these people in his will, and provided detailed instructions for the division of his possessions, including jewels, artwork, and even his collection of weaponry. A cancer foundation in honor of John Wayne left a large portion of his assets to support his loved ones, but he also made an effort to leave an impression on the world outside his inner circle. The illness that took his life and the lives of many others he knew, including his co-workers from the tragic film The Conqueror, led him to express a desire to utilize his fame and celebrity to aid in the battle against the disease. The John Wayne Cancer Foundation was founded by his family in honor of this goal. Cancer research, education, and awareness initiatives are the primary goals of this group. In 1964, Wayne received a diagnosis of lung cancer, which progressed to stomach cancer, and ultimately inspired the Foundation's goal. Several cast and crew members had cancer as a result of radiation exposure during the filming of The Conqueror, which tragically followed Wayne's illness, and this inspired his family to make a significant gift to the cause. Since then, the Foundation has grown into a major participant in the battle against cancer, demonstrating Wayne's unwavering commitment to making a positive impact and giving back. An artfully constructed send-off, the real-life John Wayne was every bit as complicated and dramatic as his on-screen persona. Wayne, a legendary figure who experienced the highs and lows of Hollywood success, had a roller coaster of a financial career. Still, he left a substantial fortune in his last years, enough to support his loved ones and the organizations he cared about. His principles, love for his family, and desire to have a positive influence were all reflected in his will, which was more than just a distribution of assets. Even in his dying moments, Wayne sought to ensure that his family was taken care of, and he wanted his name to be remembered for good things, especially in the fight against cancer. What do you think about the life of this legendary artist? Please share your thoughts in the comment section below. We would love to hear from you. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more interesting updates. Thank you and see you in the next videos.